Let me just start off by saying that this has been an absolutely crazy week for me. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are finally getting married. Or should I say Taylor Kelce? Is it too soon for that? I don't know. I'm very excited. I'm totally kidding. There's no way. I couldn't even fake it for more than 10 seconds. Who gives an F about that? I mean, like, you can be happy for them for like a couple of seconds and then move on with your lives. There's no need to be generating AI pictures of like what Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift's wedding is going to be like. And no, you're not going to be invited. You're an absolutely nobody who works at a McDonald's or a Starbucks. Get over yourself, okay? Just go back to your regular scheduled lives and they'll continue living theirs. I'm sure they'll eventually upload some wedding pictures and you can lose your mind over those. Anyways, all jokes aside, let's get serious here for a second because this is kind of a serious situation. And as you guys can tell in the thumbnail, this is something that we go back to pretty consistently. And usually when there's something that's like an exclusive to a particular convention, or if there's something that's exclusive to a particular store and it's kind of difficult to find in store or in person, usually I like to go to like eBay, for example, and just look at the secondary market, see what they're selling for, and just kind of showcase it to the community just so you're aware of this kind of stuff, because it's a little bit shady, it's a little bit sketchy, because usually it's people taking advantage of the system. It's people that are able to probably potentially buy in bulk and then resell them on eBay. And I don't know, it's kind of dirty, especially since the manufacturers don't really care about this entire situation. They're kind of just trying to offload as many of these figures as they possibly can. So in this particular case, we're talking about the new Super Scroll Marvel Legends action figure. It's supposed to be like a deluxe offering from Hasbro. It's supposed to come with like a few alternate head sculpts. It comes with the alternate arms that can be ported off the regular Scroll arms, and then the Mr. Fantastic arm, and then the Thing arm, and then the lower half of the body, which is essentially like Johnny Storm's powers, and a few other accessories. Now, from my understanding, this is kind of a retooled version of the Build-A-Figure release. That one originally was released a few years ago, and I guess it's kind of similar. It doesn't have the Invisible Woman effect piece, and then obviously most of this stuff is retooled. It's brand new. I think the chest piece might be reused, but then the legs might be brand new, or at least brand new to this figure, and then the arms, I think the regular Scroll arms are supposed to be brand new. Those, I think, just came out in a 2-pack somewhere. But yeah, most of this is like a retooled version, an upgraded version over the Build-A-Figure iteration. That one kind of had garnered a little bit of value on the secondary market. I think I saw a lot of listings with shipping and taxes included. You were paying about like 70 to 90-ish dollars for this Build-A-Figure. So it's nice to see Hasbro kind of going back and double dipping, and at the same time actually giving the consumer something that they desperately need in their display because of how expensive they are. But at the same time, they're actually giving you something that is an upgrade. It's a modern day take on that Super Scroll action figure. And honestly, I'm actually surprised that they've done so many Scroll action figures. Like in the last decade, they did that 2-pack. They did the Army Builder Scroll little set through Hasbro Pulse. They have this version, and I believe they've even had some like live action Scroll action figures. So there's definitely options out there when it comes down to Scrolls, and that's kind of pleasantly surprising. However, what's not surprising is what these figures are selling for. As I just mentioned, if you're interested in the Build-A-Figure from way back in the day, you should be paying about like $70 to $90. If you're looking for the new one, that is, I think it's exclusive to the New York convention, and then it will also be exclusive to some convention in London, I guess. Those two conventions will have those figures exclusively there. I'm sure there's going to be like a limit, 1 per customer, 2 per customer, whatever the case may be. And then from my understanding, there's supposed to be a limited quantity available through Hasbro Pulse. So I'm not 100% sure how that's going to work. Now, from like what's been happening over the past, I would say, I don't know, the last few months or the last couple of years when it comes down to convention exclusives from Hasbro, they're usually pretty widely available, not like crazy, but most of these, like there was a Darth Maul exclusive that was pretty widely available. The Death's Head was available as well, so on and so forth. So I'm not expecting this to like completely fly off the shelves, although we did see that Anakin and what was it, the Anakin and the Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan sellout. That was supposed to be like a really big expansive set, but that was a little bit unique, that was a little bit special. Everybody loves Revenge of the Sith. It's one of those films that rarely gets collectibles made out of until recently, and I think that's why there's like that hunger, that thirst for that particular set. But I think there's a slight possibility that these do become widely available through Hasbro Pulse. Usually what they do is they make it widely available for the members, and then eventually they make it available for the general public. But as I mentioned, the scalpers are there, the action figure flippers are already jumping on the scene. And if you guys are interested in pre-ordering these with taxes and fees and everything and shipping, you'll be paying about like 140 to 150. I know the listing price is like 120 to 130 with free shipping, but you have to account for taxes. So it's close to like 140-ish. Absolutely insane how people will take advantage of the situation, because clearly not that many people can go to the New York convention. Not a lot of people can go to San Diego Comic-Con either, but it always feels, I don't know, it feels more accessible to go to San Diego than it does to New York. But that's coming from me. I'm on the West Coast. I live in Arizona. Driving to the convention would be like a 6-hour drive. Not that I've done the drive yet, because I haven't been to the San Diego Comic-Con up to this point, but I don't know. It feels really shady that they're taking advantage of this. And my real question is, how are these people even gaining access to these action figures? There are a couple of listings, maybe a few more. I wasn't able to find too many. Maybe if I kept scrolling, I would be able to find more. But I did run across at least 2 different listings, 2 separate sellers, and they each had about 4 up for sale. And that's just for the time being. They could eventually just restock or have way more available. And it's just crazy that they're selling them for this much. There's always people out there trying to take advantage of the collectible community. I mean, the action figure prices are already insane and are only going to continue to get crazier as time goes by. And now you're starting to see a lot of these people make it even harder for collectors. But this is just kind of an interesting conversational topic. I'm kind of pleasantly surprised at the community kind of showing a little bit of restraint over the past few months. I've seen like stuff that ideally would sell out and would become incredibly hard to find, and the community just kind of sitting back, chilling, not buying from scalpers. We see the Maximum Spider-Man, for example. I went to a toy show a couple of days ago, and the figure was there. It was like $55. Like, nobody's really trying to pick it up. I think scalpers are going to be stuck with that type of inventory, and this is a prime example. I do believe most of the hardcore collectors are going to be able to pick them up at London or New York, and everybody else will be able to pick them up through Hasbro Pulse. So just be patient. I think this is one of those situations where it could be kind of a gamble. Like, if you really desperately want this Super Skrull action figure in your display, just be patient. I think there is a slight possibility, or I think there's a decent possibility that there's going to be a good amount, a good quantity available through Hasbro Pulse. I would say just be ready, be prepared, have your information and everything accounted for, and then just be ready to hit that pre-order button. But as I mentioned before, sometimes we have to show a little bit of restraint. Sometimes we just have to be a little bit smarter as collectors, which is not usually a phrase that we use within the collector community, because we tend to be a little bit impatient. I constantly see big content creators on YouTube essentially admit to the fact that they purchased it through eBay for like 2-3 times the original retail price point just to have the review out there first. And I don't know, I think it's a really bad look. Sometimes you just have to be patient, especially if you know that you're going to have a secondary chance. Like, if this was just 100% exclusive to some of these conventions, I completely get it, why you would want to go out of your way to spend that amount of money, especially if you're a hardcore fan of that particular action figure or character. But in most cases, especially in modern day and age, where a lot of these manufacturers got a ton of heat for having convention exclusive action figures, they're usually manufacturing at least a decent amount of collectibles available to those people that are not able to attend some of these conventions or some of these events, people that decided to stay home or just couldn't make it. NECA's done a pretty good job of that, even McFarlane. You have Hasbro, you have Mezco, a lot of these OMs. They tend to kind of fly off the digital shelves when they go up for pre-order online, but at least there's a small window where you can pick them up. You don't actually have to attend these conventions, and you definitely don't have to pay those ridiculous secondary market prices. But just stay tuned. I would say that stay tuned, keep up to date with all of the news that's happening, because I think this is one of those figures that has a slight possibility that it could sell out, but I do believe there's going to be a very small time frame where you can pick this figure up. And as I mentioned, it's a really good upgrade from Hasbro. It's not just giving you the same old figure with pinless technology. No, like they're adding limbs, they're adding different accessory pieces here and there, and that's really cool. You definitely have to commend them for that. And it's also worth mentioning they're reissuing Build-A-Figures, they're reissuing deluxe figures, and that's really what we want to see. That's one of like my main video series on the channel. I'm always talking about like Build-A-Figures or deluxe figures that Hasbro needs to re-release for new collectors or people that probably missed out on the original ones. Now is the perfect opportunity for them to do that, and this is a prime example of that. But anyways, as always, this is just my personal opinion, my personal take. I'm very curious to see what all of you guys have to say. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Do you plan on purchasing this figure? Are you going to the New York convention event? Or are you going to try to pick it up from home? Also, what other deluxe or Build-A-Figure action figures would you like to see Hasbro re-release in the foreseeable future? Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to stay safe out there. Enjoy the hobby. Pose your action figures. Play around with them. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you.